A lot of investors jump right into ChatGPT and ask, is this stock good? So if you ask ChatGPT, is this stock good? You are already asked the wrong questions, because a stock is never good or bad on its own, right? So it depends on a lot of things like price, the time frame, the risk, and what must go right. So without context, ChatGPT can only give you a generic answer and not a useful one. And here are the 8 steps that you can use ChatGPT for your stock research. So step number 1, use ChatGPT to clarify what to research on. And most people will skip this, right? So you want to put something like this. Act as a professional equity analyst. Before analyzing a stock, list the key questions that must be answered to determine whether the stock is worth studying further. So what will you get is the business quality questions, industry structure questions, financial health checkpoints, management and incentive red flags, and also valuations logic, and not just like price guessing. And this alone puts you ahead of 90% of investor. So next, you would want to break down the business behind the tickers. So as we know, stock is more than price or chart, right? So behind every stock is a business. So instead of reading random articles, right, do this, right? So explain this company's business model in plain English. How does it make money? Who pays them? Why do customers choose them? What would cause customer to leave? So once this is done, right, then you want to go a little bit deeper. So you want to ask questions, right, like what are the main revenue driver for this business? Which ones are controllable by management? And which ones are macro dependent? So this helps you to understand causalities and not just numbers. So why is so important? So most investors look at numbers in isolations, like revenue up, profit down, margin improve, debt increase. So they see what changed, but they don't understand why it changed. So causality means understanding the cost and effect change behind the numbers. After this, then we go to step number 3, which we will use ChatGPT to analyze financial in terms that we can understand, right? So instead of manually staring at income statement, use this prompt instead. Based on typical financial statement, what trend should I look for in revenue, margin, cash flow, debt, capital efficiency for a high quality company in this industry, right? Then compare, if a company shows revenue growth but declining cash flow, what are the possible explanations? Which one are reflects, right? So this will train you as an investor to interpret numbers and not just read that. So when you have that step done, next, you also need to be challenged your thought, right? So use ChatGPT to stress test your thesis. So I believe this thought is attractive because of XYZ. So just put your 3 thoughts over here, right? Argue against this thesis as a skeptical fund manager. List the strongest bear cases. Okay, so when this is done, then which risks are permanent loss risk and which are temporarily volatility risk, right? So why this is so important to know? So most losses don't come from bad luck or bad markets. They come from the assumption of that particular individual investor, right? So when you force yourself to examine your assumption, your thoughts, many bad investment or trades will disappear before money is even committed. So when you have all this done, next you'll be using ChatGPT for scenario thinking, okay? Not predictions, okay? Not prediction, but scenario thinking. So professionals don't predict, okay? They prepare. Create 3 scenarios for this company over the next 3 years. Bull case, base case, and bear case. Explain what must happen in each case, right? So when you have this, then which scenario is the markets currently pricing in? What must change for repricing to happen, right? So this is how you can stop reacting emotionally to news, to all the noise, to all of the social media's posting. Okay, so when you have that done, the next step is simple, but it's very, very critical. Use ChatGPT to identify what actually matters, right? So markets are just full of noise, right? It's very noisy. Every day there's like breaking news, analyst upgrades, social media opinions, price movements that looks important. most of it does not actually change the business at all. So instead of reacting, ask this: for this business, which metrics actually matter long-term and which ones are just short-term noise? Or which news events would truly change the intrinsic value of this company and which are irrelevant headlines, right? So this helps you to ignore all of the noise, ignore the hypes, ignore panics, and you only focus on the real business and not noise. So once all of this is done, next, use ChatGPT to use as a thinking journal for investing. And this is super powerful and is very underrated. So before I invest, I write my thinkings down and ask ChatGPT to challenge it. Summarize my investments thesis clearly. What assumptions am I making? What would prove me wrong? My confidence that might be biased into a much more clearer logic. So after earnings, bad news or price drop, I go back and ask, did the business change? Or did my emotions actually change? So most investors don't lose their money because they lack of information. They lose because they don't have a process. And a thinking journal creates accountabilities to your own logic so you don't rewrite history when your investments goes wrong. And that's how you stay disciplined when the market tests you, right? So what you need to know is that, be very clear here, ChatGPT is a very powerful thinking tool, but it should never replace core investing fundamental. First, real financial data. ChatGPT does not pull live audited numbers, all right? So it cannot replace company filing, financial platforms, and also verify data sets. So if the data is wrong, your conclusions will be wrong as well, no matter how good the reasoning sounds. Second, price charts and volume, especially if you trade. Price action shows how the market is actually behaving. ChatGPT can explain behavior, but it cannot replace what buyers and sellers are doing in real time. Ignoring price and volume is how good ideas turn into bad investment. Next will be regulatory filing. So filings are legal documents and not summaries. Risk disclosures, contingencies, and management language matters. So ChatGPT can help you understand them, but it should never replace reading the source. Next will be risk management rules. Positions sizing, stop losses, and also exposure limits are non-negotiable. So ChatGPT can help you to think clearly, but it must never override your rules, because no AI take responsibilities for your losses, and you do, right? So use ChatGPT to think better, not to delegate responsibilities. And that's the difference between a disciplined investor and someone looking for shortcuts. So think of ChatGPT as a senior analyst sitting next to you, helping you to think clearly. So follow these 8 steps and let me know how it works on your investment. See you guys in the good care. Bye-bye.